Within the hospitality industry, one of the biggest problems we have is that people complete training, or if they work for small business, they don't have all of their needs met, their career challenges and, find pathways, particularly within that small business. And so people leave for a whole variety of reasons. But we were able to find, things for people to do, further avenues to explore. And part of that, obviously, is through our training programs. My name's Emily Raven. I'm from My Kingdom for a Horse Coffee. We're a big 120-seat licensed cafe. I started out as a qualified chef, and now today I employ 25 people in cookery and front of house management. So the training awards, for me, when I studied previous winners and started to participate in the process, I realised that this was not a recognition for what I've achieved thus far. It really is about what my business looks like going forward. What am I doing for my people? Who am I going to employ? What training am I going to offer? And how can I contribute to that? The self-reflection process has absolutely focused my strategy. The judging panel asked me, where to from here? What are you going to do? So the process is not about what you've achieved already. It's about who you are going forward. And it's helped me to define that a lot. Now, pandemic or not, I'm still expanding my business, and this has given me the skills and also the foresight to really plan for that, and to think particularly about the people that will help me as part of this process in my business. The South Australian Training Awards have been a fantastic pathway for me to gaining greater recognition for my business, not just amongst my customers, but professionally. It's enabled me to join some industry organisations and to have more of a voice for my own training sector.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Renee Hindmarsh, and I'm the South Australian Skills Commissioner. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all the business owners, employers, schools, training providers, and industry representatives joining us online this morning to find out more about how to apply for the 2022 South Australian Training Awards. I appreciate you have all taken time out of your businesses to participate in our awards virtual information session, so thank you. Without the support of employers, schools, and training providers, we wouldn't have the skilled workforce and opportunities for South Australians. This is one small way that we can acknowledge your efforts. I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting on Kaurna land. I acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional owners of this land, and I acknowledge their living culture and unique role in the life of this region. The South Australian Skills Commission is proud to present the 2022 South Australian Training Awards, supported by our principal sponsor, MEGT. This year, we will once again celebrate and acknowledge the achievements of our best and brightest students, trainers, training providers, schools, and employers, and deliver a range of activities and initiatives designed to highlight the increasing opportunities available to vet students, trainees, and apprentices in South Australia. And as host of the National Training Awards later this year, South Australia has a great opportunity to showcase our fantastic training sector, allowing South Australia to shine on the national stage. Our awards showcase VET as a pathway of choice for the state's current and future workforce, and they're a great way to highlight the value of vocational education and training in our state. Importantly, the awards provide a unique opportunity for you to showcase your achievements, best practice, and innovation in your business or organisation. As a South Australian Training Awards applicant, finalist, or winner, you can be recognised for your organisation's achievements, boost your business's professional profile as a great place to work, build your networks, gain industry recognition, and, most importantly, inspire others to give vocational education and training a go. The awards are a great opportunity for people in your organisation to tell their successful vet training story. A quick overview. This year, there are 12 awards categories, 6 for individuals and 6 for organisations. And in addition, the Voters' Choice Award, which is presented to the public's favourite individual finalist. The Commission will host a South Australian Training Awards recognition event on the 25th of August. Finalists will be invited to the event, and those that win categories at the South Australian Training Awards will proceed to a further selection process for the national program. The awards team are committed to providing guidance and support to help you be your best and support you throughout the application period. We invite you now to hear firsthand from our inspirational 2021 South Australian Training Awards winners.
Teaching's definitely a strong passion of mine now, and been doing it for over 7 years now, and coming into it heavily from industry, with a big idea to make a change and make a difference. And it's nice being able to see that happen over time, and I think it's a long process, not a short process. So seeing that evolve and grow, and seeing that communication over students from 7 years ago to now and past apprentices build and maintain is pretty cool. It's a life-changing daily job where the students' lives are impacted, not just your own. So be proud of it and put yourself forward and give it a good go. I found even asking the students, when I told them that I was nominated, I said, "What do you think?" I'd only had the group for 6 weeks, and they said, "Yep, do it. Definitely worth it. Go for it." A lot of my friends and family learnt more about it as I went through the process as well. We've heard of awards and we've heard of positions and stature like this before, but never really known anyone as involved as myself before. So winning like Restaurant of the Year and Training Restaurant of the Year awards in industry was a bit different to this for me, because that was more someone would come and eat your food, or someone would come and judge your restaurant or judge your venue without knowing. With this one, it's all self-promotion. You've got to talk about yourself. You've got to say what you can do, what you are good at, what your values are. It's a different way of competing, I think. Well, in competing in a sense, it's competition, but you're just being your best self, highlighting your strengths and going through that process of meeting the criteria and bullet pointing with precision and the right language on your ability and how you do what you do well, or how you make a difference. It's kind of good to reflect on, like, all the hard work you put in, the extra hours, the extra attention to detail, the late night emails to students, or the preparation you do for your class. Seeing that rewarded or recognized, I think, is very nice and comforting. If someone's nominated you, they've nominated you for a reason. So you've got to figure out how to put what you do well on paper. And it's not a brag. It's not saying I'm amazing, look at me. It's saying this is the value I offer.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us today for our information session for the organisational categories. I'm Grace Fitzpatrick, the Executive Officer of the South Australian Training Awards, and in this session this morning we will be covering off on the organisational categories. Just a reminder, in 2022 we're offering the Industry Collaboration, the Small Employer of the Year, the Large Employer of the Year, the Small Training Provider of the Year, the Large Training Provider of the Year, and our state-based award, which is the Vet Innovation for Schools Award. This year, 4 of our 6 organisational categories have had significant changes because of a 2021 review by the Australian Training Awards into those categories. Those categories that have had significant changes include the Small Employer of the Year, the Large Employer of the Year, the Small and Large Training Provider of the Year. We're delighted in 2022 to be again offering the 2 Training Provider of the Year categories, the Small Training Provider of the Year and the Large Training Provider of the Year. The criteria and eligibility requirements for the training categories have been significantly changed. Instead of qualifications on scope, to be eligible for the Small Training Provider of the Year, you must have fewer than 500 students enrolled at the time of nomination, and organisations must nominate for the relevant award within the state or territory where the majority of your training is being reported by RTOs in the most recent annual National Centre for Vocational Educational Research NCVR data collection period. You must also be an RTO for which the delivery of vocational education and training is your core business, and nominate in the state and territory where the majority of your training is being delivered. For the Large Training Provider of the Year, you must have greater than 500 students enrolled at the time of nomination, and organisations must nominate for the relevant award within the state of territory, again, where the majority of your training is being reported by the RTO in the most recent annual NCVR data collection period. Organisations may only nominate for this category in a single state or territory. Only one nomination will be accepted per RTO code. With the changes to the Small and Large Employer of the Year, number one, the organisation must be delivering nationally recognised vocational education and training to your employees that lead to formal qualifications or a statement of attainment issued by a registered training organisation under the Australian Qualification Framework. Joint applications are accepted from a partnership between a single host employer and a group training organisation. Or this year they did make a little change. Host employers or group training organisations who nominate for the award are required to have their partner agree to the nomination. However, there is no requirement to jointly write the nomination. What will we cover today? Why you should apply, what are the judges looking for, how to get started, your online application, telling your training story, what it means to be a vet ambassador, next step, resources, an Australian Training Award update, and following this session will be our Q&A panel. The first thing is why apply? Why apply? Our state awards highlight the value of taking a vocational education and training vet pathway and provide a unique opportunity for you to showcase your achievements, best practice, and innovation in training. Being an SA Training Award finalist or award winner provides recognition of your organisation's achievements and commitment to vocational education and training, raises your organisational profile and reputation, provides a platform for valuable business and networking opportunities, showcases your business as an employer of choice and as a leader in your industry sector. And importantly, by telling your story, you inspire others. Applying for the South Australian Training Awards is a very self-reflective exercise. It makes you stop, think, and understand just how much your business has achieved by incorporating VET in your workforce development training. Undertaking the awards application process is a valuable business planning and evaluation tool. It identifies what you're doing well and assists in identifying areas you may want to further develop. What are the judges looking for? Outstanding and innovative approaches to training, excellence in design and delivery of training, commitment to equity and quality of training, sustainability, training impact. Judges want to hear your organisational training story. They want to know about the challenges you may have faced and how you've overcome them. Judges want to hear about your training journey and how it has positively impacted your business and, importantly, your employees who have undertaken VET pathways. One of the most important things when you're actually addressing the criteria is to ensure that as you go along, that you select strong supporting documents. Attach documents that provide evidence and support the statements you are making and reference those attachments in your application. Remember, one of the key things is to use all your words. As judges, give a mark out of 5 for each criterion addressed. So if you write only 100 words, you are limiting your score. How to get started? Preparing your application. Review the eligibility and criteria. Read the tips for application. Read the conditions of entry. Read the selection process. Familiarise yourself with the word limits and attachments allowed and ask for help early. For instance, with the organisational categories, the majority of your criterion, they require 800 words. Start gathering supporting documents and visit the awards website. It is really a one-stop shop for all your information. All the applications for the South Australian Training Awards are online using AwardForce platform. So it's really important to actually, while you're reviewing all the resources and documents, to actually register online, because you will find that there's additional information that you will also need to provide. In some cases, it can be for, say, the employer categories, and for some of the other organisational categories, it can be how many full-time employees you have, how many part-time, completion rates. So it's really, really important that at the same time you do register on the awards platform. One thing we will do is, after this presentation, we will provide everyone with a follow-up email and a copy of the presentation with all the tips in it and all this information. I know for a number of people joining us today that they've already registered online and they've already started to look at the online application. One of the most important things when you do start online is to save your draft as you go. There's lots of tabs. Keep saving, but do not press that submit button until you're actually ready to submit your application. Remember, write in the first person, write in plain English, use full sentences, not dot points. Check your spelling and grammar. I know this sounds very basic, but it is important things. And the reason why it's important is the application you submit for the South Australian Training Awards. If you are selected as one of our South Australian winners, that same application is what is submitted to the Australian Training Awards for their judging process. Some applicants actually will copy and paste the criteria from our category guides into a Word document, and they will start to draft their application offline before they actually start to put it online in the AwardForce platform. And the reason they do that is that they can edit, they can share it with colleagues for feedback, and it provides them with a good way to edit continually throughout the process. The only thing I always advise is, if you do that, be very careful when you're copying and pasting. It has happened where previous applicants accidentally copied the same answer for one criterion into two criterions. So we don't want you to do that. Now, telling your story. We'll get on to the next bit, which is telling your training story. All criteria questions in the application online form have been crafted to encourage you to tell your story. Your business organisation may have a compelling story that deals with overcoming challenges or managing difficult circumstances on your journey. So don't be afraid to tell it. Let the success stories of your employees' vet journey tell a compelling story about your commitment to vocational education and training and workforce development. A couple of tips. Involve as many staff in your organisation as possible. After reading the selection criteria, consider holding an online or face-to-face meeting to brainstorm each criteria. Consider points you might want to raise, capture preliminary ideas, and draft a dot point outline of what you want to cover under each criterion. Once you've done that, go through each criterion one by one, expand on the dot points, use full sentence, not dot points. It's a team effort. Get your staff involved. Ask them what makes your organisation stand out or unique. Some organisations use anything from emails to capture ideas from staff, a board in their meeting or staff room to encourage staff to participate and provide ideas and feedback throughout the process. But one of my tips is, start today and assign tasks and responsibilities. It really is a bit of a team effort. And for many of our previous finalists and winners, it's everyone in the organisation that is so proud of having been a finalist or won the South Australian Training Awards. What does it mean to be a vet ambassador? It's something that everyone struggles with understanding, but it really is about being passionate and showing initiative in your field of work and study. We know our vet ambassadors are high achieving, enthusiastic, and dedicated to their vet training and career opportunities. They set an example, advocate for their industry and vet training. They share their journeys with others, encourage others to pursue their passion. For the organisational category, you are actually allowed up to 10 attachments. It's A4, 100%, all right? And the attachments, as I said before, should be referenced throughout your application. We don't allow any multimedia items or discs. And put it this way, proof of qualification is also in addition to your 10 attachments. One thing we do want to remind people, if you exceed the attachments, unfortunately, we can't actually pass them on to the judges. Often applicants ask us what to include as their attachments. Examples include copies of certificates, awards, testimonials, letters of support, media articles and releases, social media activity, completion rates, learning platforms, photographs of the participants and students in your program, an outline of a program milestones, and anything that provides evidence that supports your statements in your application. It's important this year, there are some additional attachment requirements this year for especially a couple of the awards like the Small and Large Training Provider of the Year. So we really recommend that you go back to the category guides and have a look for those specific additional requirements. And those requirements are on top of your 10 attachments. Selection process. Judging of the South Australian Training Awards is conducted by panels chaired by a member of the South Australian Skills Commission, together with individuals who have extensive experience in training and industry sectors. The first stage of the judging involves independent judging by the each panel judging panel, and all applicants will be advised whether they are successful or not. The second stage of the judging, as an organisational applicant, you will need to be available for a site visit / interview. These will be conducted in June, July this year. And for your information, the panel may select up to 4 finalists, including 1 winner from each award category. The decision of the judging panel is final. Resources. There are lots of resources available to help you. The most important one to have a look at is obviously the awards website. And in the website, everything's there. Everything from the call for application, the individual category guides, the tips and tricks about how to apply. That is one of the most useful and important documents. Lots of the stuff I've sort of mentioned throughout this session are actually captured in that. Included in the call for application as well is all about the attachments. Each category guide, I say to everyone every year, it's like the Bible. That's what you have to look at, and you need to address those criterion. And that's what the judges will be judging against. So my advice is make sure you read those documents thoroughly. It's really quite important. A quick update on the Australian Training Awards. 2022 is an incredibly exciting year for us, with Adelaide being the host city for the Australian Training Awards. What's wonderful is that SA winners in the individual categories are automatic finalists for the Australian Training Awards. For the organisational categories, you do go into another judging process where the Australian Training Awards will select up to 3 finalists from all the states and territories in Australia. So if you make it through as an Australian Training Award finalist, you are the top 3 in the country. So it is actually a little bit of a big deal. Now, one of the things we wanted to let you know is the ATA, or the Australian Training Awards, or known as the ATA, have confirmed that their judging this year will be all virtual. and they're looking at early November to actually do the judging. So it's really important that we let you know about that change that they've just confirmed. Obviously, that's to make sure that if anything goes wrong with COVID, they don't jeopardise having the whole judging week activities here in Adelaide leading up to the 18th of November when they have the big gala presentation dinner. During the finalist week, there are a lot of really amazing professional development activities that they will be having here in Adelaide. And as we work through the year-long program, we will keep you all up to date on how that's all going to look as soon as all the information is confirmed. Okay, the other thing that's really important to let you know is the Australian Training Awards does have direct entry categories. Their categories, direct entry categories, are now open and they close on the 31st of May. The actual categories this year are the Outstanding Achievement in Vet and Skills Sector Award, the Excellence in Language Literacy and Numeracy Practice Award, the Australian Apprenticeship Employer Award, Innovation in Vet Award, and the School Pathway to Vet Award. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you'd like some more information on the direct entry categories. Just running through some key dates. Obviously, the applications opened on the 7th of March. Today, we're having our information session. The applications will be closing on the 9th of May at 5 p.m. Judging will be May, July. The 25th of August is a very important day because that is our 2022 South Australian Training Awards recognition event, where we'll find out who are our winners for 2022. And again, the 18th of November is the Australian Training Award presentation event here in Adelaide. The one message I'd like to give is that we're actually here to help. I'm only ever a text, a phone call, or an email away. So please don't hesitate to get in touch if there are any questions or any areas that you need clarification on. And just a reminder again that nominations close on Monday, the 9th of May. It is really your time to shine, be recognised for your achievements, and the absolute best of luck. And I look forward to working with you all.
Hi, good morning, and thank you for joining us at this information session. My name is David Botha. I'm the Marketing Manager here at the Department for Innovation and Skills, and this morning I'm joined by Emily Raven from My Kingdom for a Horse. She was a 2021 winner of the Small Employee of the Year, both the state and national level, and Grace Fitzpatrick, our Executive Officer for the South Australia Training Awards. Unfortunately, Steve Shearer was meant to join us this morning, but he couldn't make it today. But he has asked me to share some feedback on one of the questions that had come through around the, basically a question on what are the judges looking for, some kind of advice from Steve. Steve's a panel chair at the state level, and he's been a judge at the national level as well. And some of the advice he wanted to share was, when you're looking at your nomination and your application, what the judges are looking for is not just tangibly what you deliver, but what has the applicant done to go above and beyond the typical responsibilities and expectations in their roles. Whether the nominee can engage in authentic conversations, and to what extent can the nominee promote, vet at a wider scale or as a whole. And most importantly, how the nominee relates to others. So more than being solely focused on what vet has done for them, what do they give back to the vet sector? Currently and more importantly into the future. And to what extent can the nominee inspire others to pursue vet or promote the best practice in the vet sector? So on that, Emily, if I could go across to you, I think there's a question that's coming here for you. It says, as a winner of both the 2021 state and national Small Employer of the Year, what tips could you give potential applicants about how to approach their applications? So how do they get going? How do they set out?
Good question. It's a bit daunting to start with. So I suppose the thing that I did was, first of all, to make sure I had a lot of time. Like I gave myself, I didn't try to rush through the process, and I addressed each of the criteria separately. It's really important to understand the question, and what I did was I made a rough outline of what I wanted to say, and then you can go back and you can flesh it out, and but you've really got to make sure you're actually answering the question.
Great, thank you. And sorry, there's another one that's coming here straight away. Wanting to know what made you decide to enter, and more importantly, like what did you find appealing about your application in terms of your contribution to vet as a whole?
Wow,
a bit of a double question.
So I had, I suppose, one of the things you experience, for many of you who are interested in, applying in the different business categories, is that it's really important to acknowledge your team and, within your working life, to make sure that you're progressing and you're acknowledging those people. A lot of awards that are industry specific celebrate past successes, and this one really focused on the business, like what are we doing in the future, and as my business is reaching maturity, I felt that it was a really good time for me to branch out and I guess try to establish myself as a leader in vet training for our innovation and what we do. And so that really motivated me to, particularly in the last couple of years, look at some of the things that we've done to assist us going forward and get our trainees through.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. Grace, this might be one for you. So obviously registrations are open. Why is it important for someone to register early in the application process? What's the benefits to doing that?
I think it's really important because everything about your application is replicated and it's on the Award Force platform. There's also additional information included in there that you need to actually gather and collect, things like how many full-time staff members, part-time, your percentage of your training budget, a lot of information like that. Now, I think it's really important to get on to register, but also once you go on and register and select the criteria that you're applying in or the category you're applying in, then we know that you're actually interested and we can keep in touch, offer any help or advice along the way. And that's why it's really important. Also, it just gives you an opportunity to go through and see exactly. And of course, when in the actual different criteria, there are actually tips as well to remind you and guide you about what you need to do to put in your application.
Great, thank you. And just in terms of that, can you tell us a little bit more about the bio requirements?
Yeah. Additionally to what you would see in your category guides, when you go into Award Force, we also ask that you actually provide a 250-word bio. And the reason we need that, that's actually for PR and marketing purposes. It's not actually used for judging, but it's really important with all the marketing and promotion that we'll do if you obviously are successful and become one of our finalists or go on to be announced as a winner in that category.
Great, thank you. We've had a question here around the virtual evaluation and judging process. So I might just give a bit of a lead in and then ask you a couple of questions. Emily, you would have experienced the virtual judging process. So the question was just really asked, can we provide some more information? So it was developed in 2020, the virtual process, and it was really just to create an effective way for us to get into the businesses and validate and clarify some of the things that applicants put forward, the shortlisted applicants put forward in their applications. The process is valued by is managed by the awards evaluator, who sets up the sessions with yourselves, and it takes on a mixed kind of interview format, so both virtually and then obviously in person. And these take 45 minutes to an hour. And yeah, the shortlisted applicants can then basically put forward a view into their business in various different ways, whether you want to do video, whether you want to do a presentation in a boardroom, or whether there's actually a virtual walkthrough where you can show people around your business, introduce them to key stakeholders, managers, staff members, etc. Emily, I know you went through that process last year. Can you give some?
So I sort of chose a few different ways to approach this. I'm in the hospitality sector, and so we don't work in these mediums. But personally, in the last couple of years, I've obviously had to learn to communicate with my family and friends interstate and overseas using different formats like this. So while there might be a very small learning curve in order to get used to them, it's also an opportunity because, for instance, in my initial interview process, I did live interviews actually in my business with staff members before the panel, which was worked really well. But then for the national awards, I ended up preparing sort of a fairly good PowerPoint presentation where I videoed some of my trainees and apprentices working, and I conducted interviews with them. And that was to ensure that it fit into the time that I had, and it also sort of helps to remove a few of the nerves, going forward as well. So you can see that as an advantage.
Great, thank you. Great. So I had a question coming here saying, are applicants that already applied in 2021 encouraged to try again, or are you only looking for new applicants?
Absolutely. Because sometimes things can change in 6 months and 3 months, and you might have an even better, bigger story to tell. So absolutely. And the other thing I would say, to actually get to become a state winner or a national finalist or a national winner, sometimes it takes an organisation a number of goes because it is a bit of a learning process. So absolutely, I would say go for it. You have nothing to lose.
Great. And another one, if you go, sorry. So the question is, what if your support is via video testimonials instead of a written application? Can we provide links to YouTube or social media for testimonials?
That's a little bit tricky because of the eligibility criteria for attachments. It's actually set at the national level by the Australian Training Awards, and currently it's not actually accepted. Multimedia, discs, etc. We're hoping sometime in the future that we might be able to move to that. It's certainly being discussed at the national level, but unfortunately at the moment we can't. You might be able to look at maybe transcribing those and putting them into a Word document. That would be my suggestion. But look, happy to have a chat after this session offline to see what else we might be able to do to look at how best to actually assist you with that inquiry.
Great, thank you. And then another question we have here is around, will you be allocated a mentor to help us with applications like last year? So this year, it's a slightly different approach. The mentor service is going to be focused more holistically on the individual categories. That said, we are there to support you. So if you have any questions, you can contact Grace, and we can even consider how the evaluator the mentor might even assist you with some of those more detailed kind of questions or looking at your applications. Grace, here's a bit of a complicated one for you to.
Thank you, David.
So the question is, can a group training organisation apply as an employer in its own right? So internal trainees, and it says without a host partner on the application.
That's really interesting because it depends, I think, on the group training organisation. If its core business is RTO training, then normally you would think that would be the smaller large training provider of the year. Thinking about the eligibility criteria for the employer categories, the actual eligibility does state a partnership between a host employer and a GTO. What I'd suggest is maybe I'll take that one offline if you don't mind. And what I'll do is I'll contact the Australian Training Awards and get them to give me a definitive, because the actual eligibility criteria that's set nationally doesn't specify either way whether a host employer or a GTO can apply on their own. So look, I'll get onto them pretty quick and try and get an answer back to you. But it's a really good question. Hasn't been asked before, and we definitely haven't seen an application from a GTO on their own. So I'm very interested to get a response on that one.
And can I suggest you ever ask that question, if you can send an email through to Grace so we know who you are, because obviously these questions are coming through anonymously. That'd be great. And then...
that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Good. Emily, a question for you. What message of encouragement would you give anyone considering a nomination this year?
Well, at the moment, I think we are essentially in a position to break new ground in vet and training. So you can be the start of something. And I know that for me in my business, there hasn't been a lot of change for a long time, but there certainly is right now. And it's an amazing thing to be part of that. So yeah, take your business to the next level. Show be an influence on how you can innovate and make change.
Great, thank you. Just trying to see if any other questions have come in. Just give me a minute. Seems to be it, unless someone wants to pop through a question. But while we just wait for that to see if any others come through, any final comments from either of you in terms of people out there looking to apply? You've already given words of encouragement, but any other tips or words of advice you can give them in terms of preparing that application? I know in your video we watched earlier, you gave quite a good insight into that the process was so rich in terms of informing your own thinking and your own business strategies.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of people at the moment are going through, the same experiences that I am in my business, which is, lots of COVID isolations and people getting sick and having to try to work around that. Don't let that deter you from applying for this, because we will get through to the other side. And participating in this process for me has really been about just who are we for the future. It's not about this is an award for what you've done before. It's who are we for the future. And right now, it's like, we have an opportunity to really make change.
I would say, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I reflect back to 2020, which was, we had to change everything. We were dealing with the first year of COVID, and I continued to encourage and support our organisational applicants throughout the period. And the result actually was, despite the most, disruptive and challenging year we had, we ended up with 11 national finalists out of 19 for South Australia. We're little. We run on passion. That's what I say with the awards and everything. So my advice is, I know it's challenging, but just give it a go. Do it. It's not hard. Sometimes it's about really breaking it down, set tasks, get everyone involved in your organisation, because the pride, that's the thing. That's what I see for both the individual and organisational category. Our winners, our finalists, it's the pride. It's what it means. And especially for the organisational categories, it means as much for the leaders in those organisations as it does for the actual staff and the employees, the students. For the RTO categories, the training provider categories, it is a testimony to everyone, and it does shine a real light on your success and the amazing things that you're actually doing, despite COVID, despite all the other disruptions that everyone is facing.
Use it to your advantage.
Yep.
Yep.
Use it as part of your story. You know,
I draw energy from it.
Yeah, because nobody says to me at the end of it, wish I didn't do that. They actually normally say, best thing I did, you know?
Great. Thank you both of you for making the time to join us today. Just remember, look back at the website for any updates to our frequently asked questions. And like we said earlier, we are here to support you. So any questions, feel free to email those through to sata@sa.org.au. And yeah, good luck with your applications, and we look forward to seeing them coming in. And yeah, all the best with that. And just a closing comment from Renee Heinmarsh. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for joining us online today and for taking the time to participate and find out more about how to apply for the 2022 South Australian Training Awards. We hope you were inspired by hearing from our previous awards winners, and in particular, how nominating for the South Australian Training Awards has had an impact on their careers and businesses. Harrison Sanders, our 2021 Apprentice of the Year and Australian Training Awards runner-up, captured it beautifully when he said, "Be honest, be genuine, be yourself, and know that it's all about being real and being your best." All of our inspirational winners are great ambassadors for VET and showcasing where a VET pathway can take you. Applications for the South Australian Training Awards close on Monday, 9th of May, with the awards presented at the recognition event on Thursday, the 25th of August. I encourage you to consider applying for the awards and help to showcase VET as a pathway of choice for South Australia's current and future workforce. Good luck.